This is my last little bit of half-assed content for the day because I've wanted to make this for the last 3 days and I keep forgetting, so I'm doing it now. Yeah. Welcome to Pillow Talk time. We're talking about education. Did you know that most people need to see the same information 7 different times in 7 different ways before they'll really connect it through and think it out? I'm not pulling that number out of nowhere. That's what I learned in the colleges from my education degree that I'd have for certified teaching. It's totally a fucking thing. So, I have a certain way of looking at things, but sometimes I'll talk about things more than once, or I'll explain things different ways, or I'll do a serious post, but then a silly post about the same content, and it's fine. You want to look at it more than once, please do. I hope you will. Also, I love it when I see other people talking about shit that I also want to talk about, because it's like, yes, let's talk about this shit. And if any person ever tells you that you shouldn't be listening to anybody else, that is a huge red flag. So that's the first thing I want you to think about. So yeah, anybody ever tells you that you can only listen to them and they are the final word on how to do, especially the stuff that we do, no. Also, and we're going to talk about this more later, but look at how people respond when they're criticized. It is deeply, deeply telling. If someone can't take criticism, it's a huge red flag. Even when people criticize me and I'm like, I really think I'm right, guys, then usually, even if it's information where we talk it out and it's like, okay, so I was technically correct, maybe I explained it weirdly, or maybe we didn't understand each other, or maybe there's some nuance of it that I missed, because things are nuanced, or maybe I acted badly, you can still do something not great. And a lot of times there's other aspects of things that I'm not covering. So please, look at as many sources of information as you can, and then pull it all together and come up with what works for you. Anybody has a problem with that? You want someone to give them a mean talking to? I know I'm a sweet little marshmallow, but I can be mean for you. Yeah, don't let no one push you around unless you like it. Alright, I'm so tired. I'm gonna go. Goodbye. When I was working in the classroom, I'd give my students these little fuzzy balls of different sizes and colors that came from the craft store. I gave them to them because they were a sensory delight, and they would be given to them usually, for really anything they did that just tickled my fancy or that was in line with the behavior plan that we had all agreed to at the beginning of the year. It was a positive reinforcement. So, these little balls would normally live in a cup at the corner of their desk, and they could, play with them during their break time. And this worked all the way up through 5th grade. But the kindergartners loved it especially. And so at the end of the day, they could take their balls from off the desk and put it in the bank. And it was on a bulletin board. We had a whole setup. And what they could also do at that point was that we had a little shop. And they could buy different things at the little shop. And some things would cost, 1 ball. But then once a week, they could all chip in and get something bigger. My favorite thing that they ever bought that was a bigger thing was a bubble party. A bubble party was just them all sitting in their chairs while we played music, and I ran around with a giant bubble wand with bubbles everywhere. Oh my goodness, they loved it, and I loved it. So low key, and they spent so many of their little fuzzies on those. Oh. But the other thing they liked, because I did not speak this way when I was teaching, they had us go through a whole class to learn to not speak in an accented voice when we are speaking. And my father also was very opposed to this kind of accent, so he did not encourage it when I was growing up. And so It slips in here and there, but it's not regularly this strong. The other thing they could buy, which they did regularly for one fuzzy each, at each day, is that they could pick a word, and I would say it in my funny accent. Their favorite one was hippopotamus or platypus. They really like platypus. So that is why I cringe whenever my accent comes out.